Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm making a video on the flat law train horn guide by HornBlasters. This is an after the fact guide. I've already installed it in my car. It works stellar. I figured it out all by myself. But this is for the people who, like me, were a little bit more technically challenged when it comes to the wiring, because I've never done wiring before. It was super easy, so rest assured, you got this. By the end of this video, you'll have a general understanding of what to do. Like most people say, every car is different. I did mine, again, in a Miata, but you know, if you're doing it in a truck or you're doing it in, you know, wherever, you'll find space to do it. You just have to follow along with essentially what I did. So to start, there are two main circuits. The first circuit goes from the battery to a switch, wherever you want to put it. I put it actually right there. And then that goes to the horn. Then the other one goes to the battery to a relay. That relay connects to a bunch of stuff, and then to the compressor. So the first circuit, essentially, when you flip the switch, you're sending power directly to the horn. When that horn draws power, it's going to draw air from the compressor, or I think the solenoid lets the air through or something. Again, kind of technically challenged, but that was my understanding. And then the other circuit, you're setting up the compressor to, when you turn your car on, it can draw power and then fill the compressor with air. So we'll start from there. I'm going to do one circuit at a time because I think it's easier that way to understand. I'm going to show you the engine of the car. It's going to be a little bit confusing with all the wiring, but we'll get through it. So to start, we're going to do that switch circuit that I was talking about. This cable is a fuse that they include in the kit. You're going to attach that fuse to a little, let me take this off. You're going to attach that fuse to the battery with one of the clamp thingies that they give you, and that fuse gets spliced into a gray or blue wire. I chose gray because blue stood out a little bit more, and I needed the blue for other stuff, as you see. But then I run that gray into the car, and that gray connects to this switch. This switch, again, if I toggle it, blows the horn. But from this switch, I run my cable down through here, and then there's a hole back here that goes directly to my trunk. And in the trunk, that gray cable runs down to my horns. Sorry, I had to reposition here. So that gray cable comes down from up here, and I splice it or terminate it, I don't know the proper terminology, into the solenoid thingy here. They give you two black cables. So the two black cables, to my understanding, it doesn't matter which one you splice it into, but one has to go to ground, one has to go to that gray power line. I don't think it matters because I couldn't tell the difference between positive and negative when I was doing it. So just do whichever, and it works fine. But that's the first circuit. Once that's in, every time you flip that switch, you'll be sending power directly to the horn, and that horn will pull air from the compressor. So the second circuit goes to the compressor. So like stated above, you get this, which is a relay. I'm not too sure on how relays work, but my general understanding from my limited Google searches is that it needs two sources of power to actually send power somewhere. So essentially what you're doing is you have one of the lines hooked up to the battery, which is always drawing power. They give you this little fuse thing, much like the other one. It's just a fuse that you want between the relay and the battery, so that if anything goes wrong, this fuse breaks instead of the compressor. So that goes into the bottom one. So this orientation might be different depending on how you're holding it, so take this with a grain of salt. I will put on, screen the relay instructions that they have and then walk it through that way. But this bottom one goes straight to the battery. This one on the right comes into this fuse. So this is a fuse tap. The bottom fuse works for my radio. The top fuse works for this circuit that I have created. And essentially this fuse, anytime my car is started, that's the only time that it's drawing power. These are different on every car, so make sure you figure out which fuse is best for you to use. But I used my radio 1 fuse. That plugs into this right side. The top one runs straight back to the compressor, and then the left one is grounding. You have to make sure to ground this circuit. So again, similar like the other circuit, my red cable runs into my car, but instead of going to the switch, runs completely to the back, and then again out to the compressor. So the compressor has a red, let me see if I can get a better angle, a red and a black wire coming out of it. I grounded my compressor just to the base of the nuts that I installed it with, and then the red gets terminated here. I found the connectors were a little bit shitty because it was a big wire to a small wire, so instead I did it with a twist connector myself. And honestly, that's pretty much it for the wiring. So like I said before, if you flip this switch, because it goes straight to the it goes straight to the battery, this will just toggle the horn even if the car is off. But if I get in my car, and since I've used the horn a little bit, and I start it, oh, I thought it would draw air, but I guess I don't know what PSI it actually draws air at. Normally the compressor would turn on, but since it still has a little bit of air in it, I don't think it's gonna pull air. If I use the horn a little bit more, it probably will. So let's try that. There we go. So you can see compressor's pulling air. If I turn off the car, you can see compressor stops. So it only draws power, again, when plugged in. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, this guide was just for people like me who are a little bit technically challenged and didn't understand the cabling, and I guess just a way to visualize the cables easier. The install, again, super easy. They give you everything that you need. Just follow along with, I guess, this video and or that, like the little pamphlet they give you. Good luck to everybody, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them down below. Peace!